In today's tutorial, we're learning how to make these really cool Nike-inspired posters in Canva in just a few minutes. We'll learn the landscape variant as well as the portrait variants for example, social media or outdoor banners. And we'll use all Canva elements so you can easily follow along in the tutorial. And we're starting from a blank canvas. Now for this one, I'm starting from a presentation format, so 16 by 9, but we're going to adjust it later on for other formats. First, I want to change the background color, so go to background color and scroll all the way down until we see the gradients. Choose that dark gradient, scroll up again, and now click on the color wheel. We go for this circular gradient, and here we can see the dark in the middle and the light outside. We want to inverse that, so we're going to rearrange the colors, just swap places, and now we have the light in the center. I want to select the light and then make it slightly darker. This gives us that really cool highlight spotlight effect on the image. Next we go to the Elements tab, and here we want to type in woman running. You can choose whichever image that you like for this, of course. I'm going to Photos, see all, and then choose one of the photos that you like, preferably of a person in full view. So I'm going to choose this one here. There's a lot going on with the concrete in the background, the shadow, but even from this type of image you can create that nice result. So I'm going to go for background remover, and this removes the background of the image, which already gives quite a cool effect. Give it a few seconds to load, and then it will be in high definition. I'm going to make it slightly larger so that she almost fills the screen, and then center in the middle. Now because we want that black and white aesthetic, I'm going to select the image and then go to edit, and then we're going to add that black and white effect. So go to filters and then scroll all the way down until we have the black and white, the monochrome filters. You can test a few to see whichever one fits your style best, but some of them will look a bit too matte or newspaper-like, so that's not nice. But I think the noir effect is the one that we want. So I'm going to tone it down just a bit. Then we click on back and go to adjust. Here we're going to play around with these settings a bit. So the brightness, you can play around with the brightness. Also the contrast, let's make them, tune them down just a bit. Maybe the highlights can go up. And then just play with these settings until you find the desired result for your image. There we go. So just tweaking until we have that result. Now I'm going to deselect this and go to the text tab. Click on title. And here we want to type in our words. In our case, it's going to be, let's say, start running. So start, increase it in size. And for the font, let's use something more condensed, like Anton. Let's make it a bit larger. And position it at the top of her body. And then hold the Option key on the Mac to create a copy. And running at the bottom part. Let's do it like this. So we see the letters now nicely cover part of her body, and now we're going to start with the layering effect. For that, we're going to copy the image. First, I'm going to select the crop mark so we can easily see that it matches the top and the bottom. That makes it easier if we have Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V to place it on the same spot and to overlap it. Now we're going to readjust the crop marks of the top one, and we can already see that here at the word running. We can see that this leg is sort of cropping out, and the leg is going in between the letters, and that's what we want. Same is happening here on the top, but of course in a different way. So I'm going to crop this here for the leg. There we go. And now we're going to duplicate that part, but for the top part. So we readjust the crop. Let's say we want the letter T to jump out. We just do it like this. And the further you drag along, the more letters will appear or disappear behind the body. I think this will look quite good already. Maybe one more, like the detail that we can do, is if we copy it once more and then just drag it to the side, that we have this letter here, the A. I think that might look nice. Let's crop it like that. That she's running in between the letters, and it really gives that dynamic and 3D effect. Now this already isn't looking bad, but I think we can make it more realistic. And for that, we're going to add some shadows to the slide. So go to Element, and here we type in shadow. Go to Graphics, and now we're going to choose some of the presets of the shadow. So let's go for this one here and place it at the bottom. So that it's the shadow of her body falling onto the ground in the studio setting. Let's put that here, go to position and send to back. So it's behind or below the legs even. This already casts that shadow of her body on the floor. Go to elements again. Let's redo that shadow search, graphics. And now let's take a more elliptical one, this one here. And we're going to make it smaller and drag it around the legs here. So let's make it the size of her upper leg. And then use the arrow keys on your keyboard to nudge it in place. Go to position, layers, and now we want to drag this underneath the leg layer so that it gives that sort of shadow cast on the letters, and that's what we want to create. We can do the same here for the body because we can see it's quite a harsh shadow here. So we're going to add it to the screen again, rotate it a bit, and place it right here with the body. Of course, now it's going over the body, so we don't want that. So we're going to reposition and drag it underneath the body parts. Just make sure that you don't drag it underneath the letters, because otherwise the effect will go away. If you drag it here, you don't see it anymore. So make sure that you put it on top of the letters, but below the body part. And you can repeat this for whichever parts that you like. There you go. That already looks quite nice. Now let's add some finishing touches to the slide. And for that, let's do some text and heading. Let's say new collection, January 3rd. And drag that here on design. And if you space that nicely, you can place it on the design and it looks quite well thought through that it's part of the design. So if you put it on top of the running in between the letters, it sort of blends in nicely with the design. So let's put this in all caps, make this slightly smaller. Here we go. And also for the font, you can use Montserrat, and let's go for extra light or regular light. Just select the text first. There we go. So it nicely blends in. It's a subtle touch, but if people see the eye-catching visual, their eyes will glance to the subtitle as well. Let's copy it once more, where we put the website here at the bottom, your website.com. And then maybe let's finish it off with a logo. Go to elements, logo, and then of course it will be your own logo. You can choose whichever one you like for this design. So for this one here, I'm going to choose the logo that I can find. Let's make it white, scale it down, and then put it in the corner of your campaign. So it sort of acts as a image reminder, a logo branding element on your design. So this is already the first landscape design that you can use for TV screens, posters, or anything in that format. Now let's see how we can reshape it to, for example, social media designs. And for that, I'm going to the resize button at the top. And then let's go for Instagram post or Instagram story. Copy and resize, or resize this design. So resize this design changes the presentation to a new format, or you can copy and resize, which will create a new one. So you have both to work with. And once it's ready, you can open your story and it will open in a new tab. Here we can see that a large part of the design has remained good. So I'm going to select everything and scale it up. And just fine-tune some of the selections here, like the arm that is floating around. Just put that back in place. There we go. Maybe the shadow. We can enlarge that to make it more prominent and put it closer. Make everything a bit larger, and then equal spacing from the left as well as the right side. So let's put it in the center. There we go. The logo, you can make it a bit larger and put it here at the bottom. Same as with your website. If we do it like this, you can see we can easily convert it to a different style of poster with this simple resize or redesign feature. You can add some more elements if you want, but I think it's a very clean, minimal poster, and that's the aesthetic that we wanted to go for. So you can easily turn it into a horizontal portrait mode as well from the landscape design. So now let's preview what we have. And this is how you can make these really cool minimal aesthetic Nike inspired designs in Canva in just a few minutes, and they work both as well for landscape as well as portrait formats. So you can really customize them for your own brand or campaign design. Thanks a lot for watching, and if you want to learn more about Canva, make sure to drop a follow and watch the video on the screen right now.